What if there were still places in the world where life moved with the rhythm of nature, where ancient traditions survived, and where people measured wealth not by speed or technology, but by land, family, and community? Deep in the rural heart of Iran, far from the noise of crowded cities, villages continue to preserve a way of life that feels both timeless and extraordinary. Here, mountains, valleys, deserts, and fertile fields shape everyday existence, while farming, handmade crafts, colorful weddings, and deep social bonds define the culture. This is not just a journey through beautiful landscapes. It is a rare look into a world where history still breathes through the people, the food, the customs, and the soil itself. From saffron fields to ancient celebrations, rural Iran reveals a side of life many people have never seen. And once you see it, you may never look at simplicity the same way again. Friends, today we're exploring the story of rural life in Iran, a world where time moves slowly and the bond between people and nature still feels deeply alive. Let's discover how people live in Iran's villages and remote regions, where tradition, agriculture, family life, and marriage customs continue to shape everyday life. Iran is still home to a large rural population, and these villages are far more than simple places to live. They are living examples of beauty, heritage, and peaceful, traditional life. Although many basic modern facilities now exist, the lifestyle in these rural communities remains calm, nature-based, and deeply rooted in old customs. Located in the heart of the Middle East, Iran is an ancient Muslim country once known as the Persian Empire. Because of its vast land area, it is one of the largest countries in the region and contains many major cities, as well as thousands of villages that have been inhabited for centuries. These villages are spread across mountain ranges, fertile plains, scenic valleys, dried deserts, and riverbanks. Many of them have survived for hundreds, and sometimes thousands, of years. Even today, the rich history and culture of Iran can still be clearly seen in these remote communities. Most people in Iran's rural areas are engaged in agriculture and animal husbandry, which remain their main sources of income. This way of life has been passed down from generation to generation and still forms the foundation of daily existence. The history of farming in Iran is extremely old, and there is evidence that grain cultivation existed here centuries ago. Even today, in many places, farming is done in the traditional way. Wheat, barley, millet, maize, sunflower, and cotton are widely cultivated across the countryside. Another special crop is saffron, one of the most valuable agricultural products in the world, and Iran is. This precious spice holds a special place in Iran's agricultural economy, and has helped spread the country's identity across the world. Iran. People from many ethnic communities live in the remote regions of Iran. Tajiks, Turkmen, Kurds, Azerbaijanis, Baloch, and Arab communities all live here with their own customs, clothing, and traditions. During social events such as festivals, harvest seasons, or weddings, people help one another in ways that strengthen their social bonds. The food in these villages is also distinct. Rice dishes served with meat are especially popular and are an important part of local culture. Because of the country's vast and varied land, horticulture is also very important alongside agriculture. Iran's pomegranates and olives are known around the world. 2. In addition, grapes, apricots, apples, cherries, and orange orchards add beauty and abundance to rural landscapes. Iran is also famous for its dried fruits and spices. In colder mountain regions, walnuts, almonds, figs, and pine nuts are still produced using traditional methods that preserve ancient practices even today. In this way, rural Iran offers a remarkable blend of life, nature, tradition, hard work, and culture. Here, people have kept their roots alive while also moving gradually toward modernity. That is why Iran's villages are not merely places to live, but living stories of history and human experience. Every road seems to open the door to a new lesson about the beauty of simple living. You. Iran is a historically important nation where human settlement dates back thousands of years. In ancient times, much of this land was known as the Persian Empire, and the mark of that history still remains in the mountains, caves, and distant rural landscapes. Even in today's modern age, many remote villages prove that people have been living here for well over 1,000 years. Some communities still follow a lifestyle close to nomadic traditions. Large livestock, especially sheep and goats, form a major part of their livelihood. It is also common to see Iranian women actively involved in animal care, which is an important part of rural life. Ancient culture and long-standing traditions remain clearly visible in these rural areas, and one of the most fascinating examples is the local wedding ceremony. Weddings in rural Iran are often colorful, traditional, and full of joy. People from different ethnic communities, including Turkmen, Tajiks, Kurds, Azeris, Baloch, and many others, take part in these celebrations in their own cultural styles. Usually, these weddings continue for 4 or 5 days, and the whole village joins in. Music, dancing, and traditional folk performances fill the atmosphere with excitement. Guests are served delicious Iranian food, and this festive spirit helps strengthen the social unity of rural life. The beauty of old culture remains alive in Iran's rural weddings. Although Persian is the main language of the country, many local languages are also spoken in different regions. Iranian people are generally known for being warm, welcoming, and generous. For that reason, their cultural festivals are celebrated with great energy and emotion. One of the most important is Nowruz, whose history goes back nearly 3,000 years. This festival marks the arrival of spring and is celebrated not only in Iran, but also in several countries across Central Asia. During the New Year season, people gather with family and friends to welcome a fresh beginning. They decorate their homes, prepare special meals, and celebrate with hope, gratitude, and joy. Cow. The rural people of Iran are also highly skilled with their hands. They are especially famous around the world for making carpets and quilts. Even today, in many places, carpets are still woven entirely by hand. These are not just practical products but unique pieces of art. In addition, traditions of making pottery from clay and carving objects from wood have continued for generations. Ancient designs, regional styles, and inherited methods are clearly reflected in these handicrafts, enriching the culture of rural Iran even further. Thus, the combination of history, tradition, celebration, and art turns rural life in Iran into a fascinating story that reveals a new color at every moment. People in distant villages are often healthy, energetic, and closely connected to natural life. Their diets depend heavily on natural foods. Fresh grains, fruits, dairy products, and dried fruits all play an important role in daily meals. Because of this healthy, many older people in rural areas remain quite active and continue doing daily work with strength and discipline. Instead of ordinary tea in the morning, many people drink kahwa made with aromatic spices, which helps them stay refreshed throughout the day. After the day's work is finished, villagers often gather at night to sit together, talk, and share stories. In these gatherings, one can still feel the old spirit of Iranian culture. When we look at Iran's economy, we see that although the country's currency is relatively weak by international standards, rural life can still be comfortable in many ways. Iran earns greatly from agriculture, animal husbandry, dried fruits, spices, and especially saffron. The country is also rich in natural resources. Large reserves of oil and natural gas have strengthened the economy and made energy relatively affordable in many places. As a result, electricity, transport, and daily living costs can remain more manageable than expected. Because of changes in international trade, Iran has placed greater emphasis on domestic production. As a result, locally made goods are highly visible in the market. This self-reliance has also increased the importance of rural production. Agricultural products and handicrafts from villages are reaching bigger cities more easily than before. The government has worked to improve roads and transport links in different regions so that goods from remote areas can reach wider markets. Alongside ancient traditions, access to education and healthcare has also gradually expanded in rural Iran. Situated among hills, valleys, forests, and open land, these villages are filled with natural beauty. Clear air, green scenery, and quiet surroundings create a dreamlike atmosphere. Every year, many tourists visit these rural regions to experience closeness to nature and enjoy the taste of traditional life. In many villages, neighbors still know one another closely, and daily life is built around cooperation, respect for elders, shared labor, and community celebrations. Children grow up surrounded by stories, customs, and landscapes that connect them to their ancestors. Whether people are working in fields, tending animals, weaving carpets, or preparing food for guests, there is a strong sense of community. That enduring connection is one of the most beautiful and memorable features of rural Iran, even in modern times. In this way, rural life in Iran becomes a unique mixture of nature, heritage, labor, and culture. Although modernity has touched these places, human life still remains simple, sincere, and deeply connected to the soil. These villages are not just settlements, but living canvases of history, culture, and nature that continue to fascinate visitors and remind us how beautiful life can be when it stays close to the earth. Please like this informative video and share it with others. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you are a new viewer, subscribe to the channel and stay with us. Finally, thanks for watching.